whether it's tribalism or populism, these new trends, most are defining them as disturbing. How do you identify them at the right time in terms of how do you identify them before they become an inevitable problem? And what's the mindset that's needed to approach it to make sure that there's a true solution that can be provided to combat the effects of whether you call it tribalism, populism, whatever it may be?
Well, first of all, let's define what we're talking about, because populism is defined as appealing to the common person. And in that sense, it's either tautological or essentially democratic. It's only when it veers into xenophobia and racism and extremism that you have a problem. So we've got to be very careful about deriding populism, because in a way we're deriding democracy and the views of a large swath of the population that feels ignored and their issues not addressed. And frankly, that's a huge issue, because if you do ignore the population, truly extremist leaders can put their policies forward and possibly get political traction. To the extent that the views are anti-democratic, illiberal, racist, jingoistic, excessively nationalistic, I think we have to deal with legitimate issues to cool the temperature and have people feel that their legitimate needs are addressed. That doesn't mean we have to pander to the worst in humanity. It means we have to address legitimate concerns, and I think that's part of the problem, frankly.
And kind of pivoting to this forum specifically, bringing together academia, bringing together government, business, most specifically the financial sector, is this the type of dialogue that kind of needs to be advanced in the type of dialogue that will get us there to those solutions to combat tribalism and its emergence?
It's part of it. I think it's very healthy that we have people from the United Nations, from the financial services sector, from academia, former political people sitting down and talking, because I think what's needed in a highly polarized society, a genuine dialogue where people listen to each other and then respond not with ad hominem attacks, but with reasoned arguments. So this is a good start, but we've got to reach out more broadly than that.
Okay. And I guess I'll end with a question of timing. There were some pretty stark comparisons historically made today to the 1920s, 1930s. Hard to tell where we are, if we are truly repeating history here. In terms of just timing, I know it's hard with no crystal ball, but at what point do we hit that tipping point that throws us into kind of the worst results of this before getting a hold of it?
We're not at the apocalyptic stage of the 1930s, so I don't think we want to be exaggerating the situation that we're in. But if we don't deal with people's legitimate interests, then, of course, we can start having leaders emerge who are truly demagogic and ultimately dangerous. So I think we've got to address legitimate needs and be responsive to the broader population in democratic societies, which we are, and we want to see democracy flourish. So I think these are very important issues, but I'm not of the view that this is the 1930s.